Ah, war. The eternal sport of kings. Or at least that's what they told me back in Camelot before we realized that jousting was safer than global annihilation. But today, noble viewers, we're not speaking of chivalry or valorous duels in misty fields. No, we're diving headfirst, mud, blood, and all, into the spectacular disaster that was the First World War. Or as I call it, 4 years of everyone forgetting what common sense was. Now, if you think medieval warfare was brutal, let me introduce you to trench warfare. Imagine waking up every day in a muddy hole filled with rats, disease, and the persistent scent of despair, only to be told to charge directly into a hail of machine gun fire for 6 feet of land. And then do it again next week. That, dear squires, was the strategy. The year was 1914. Europe was a powder keg of empires waving their flags like drunken peacocks. One assassination in Sarajevo later, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, poor chap, and the dominoes fell faster than knights at a tavern brawl. Germany, France, Russia, Britain, Austria, Hungary, everyone was in. They called it the War to End All Wars, which frankly sounds like the kind of dramatic title I'd give my memoirs. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Enter the trenches. Dug from the North Sea to the Swiss border, these glorified ditches became home to millions of soldiers, most of whom had no idea why they were there. Defend the homeland, they were told. Against what? Mudslides and gangrene? And the battles? Oh, the battles. Verdun, the Somme, Ypres, where thousands died in a single day, so generals could move a little flag on a map an inch to the left. It's as if someone thought, what if we made war extremely inefficient and also deeply traumatizing? Bravo, humanity. Gas attacks became the newest innovation, because when bullets, bombs, and bayonets just weren't cutting it, why not add lung-melting chlorine to the mix? Tanks rumbled in like angry metal tortoises. Airplanes turned from novelty toys into death-delivering sky demons. And through it all, soldiers lived in damp misery, writing letters home with hands that hadn't been clean in weeks. But here's where things get almost poetic, if by poetic you mean horrifically ironic. Every side thought they were winning. Propaganda painted victory as just around the corner for 4 years. Meanwhile, an entire generation was being ground into dust. The war ended in 1918, not with a grand battle or decisive victory, but with exhausted nations finally collapsing under their own idiocy. The Treaty of Versailles blamed Germany for everything, because scapegoats are convenient, and unknowingly planted the seeds for an even bigger mess called World War II. But that's a story for another day. So what did we learn? That industrial-scale warfare turns battlefields into nightmares? That politicians with mustaches should be closely monitored? That perhaps, just perhaps, digging a ditch and calling it strategy isn't brilliant military science? Now, brave viewer, if this little historical catastrophe amused, horrified, or mildly educated you, then honor your noble host with a token of appreciation. Strike thy sword, or rather your cursor, upon the like button. Subscribe, so you may join me again for more tales of human folly dressed in steel. And leave a comment. Which part of this war do you find most absurd? The trenches? The gas? The fact that pigeons were used as communication devices in the age of telegraphs? Remember, history isn't just about kings and castles. It's also about the spectacular ways humans trip over the same stone, century after century. And as your humble, occasionally sarcastic guide through time, I promise, no matter how bad it gets, we'll always have Trenchfoot to laugh about. Until next time, this is King Arthur wondering if the Round Table would have survived 4 years in the mud. I doubt it.